Hey, well, good morning, everybody. It's Monday morning, May 13th, 2024. We are 13th. Today is the 13th, right? Okay, cool. Hey, listen, it's a new week, right? It's a new week, and I believe that we're going to get some work done this week. Like, this week is going to be a, um, a week of purpose. We're pushing purpose. I just preached in a second message in a series, choose, uh, choose purpose, right? And my intent and goal for our times together over these conversations is for that we would be empowered to ask the right questions and answer them. Don't let nobody tell you you crazy for answering yourself, but that we can ask and answer the right questions so that we can become uh, the best version of ourselves that we can be, and so that we can, in fact, graduate from a to-do list to a to-be list, that we no longer focus mainly or solely on what we have to do, but rather we're intentional about who we are to become. Because if you focus on becoming, then it helps eliminate doing things that do not align with that greater purpose and intent for ourselves. So, hey, there's greatness inside of you, and perhaps through these conversations, through this May I live stream series, you can be helped to tap into your full potential, to unlock whatever is next for you. Because what's next for you is not, it may not be the same thing that's next for me, but there is a next for us all. And there is something that all of us have been created for, and that's this thing called purpose. And I came across this quote that said, "It's never too late to be what you might have been." It says it's never too late to be what you might have been. Hey, good morning, Car. Good to see you. Making an impact there in Corsicana, down in the can. Car Stewart, um, Smith Parlor for Funerals. Good morning to you. So listen, we are focusing this week on something that is very alarming, and that is most people don't know what they want. And so the quote that I came across says it's never too late to be what you might have been, indicating this, that if you're alive, then there's still a chance. If you're alive, then it's a matter of you saying, I'm going to make the choice, and I'm going to decide that I will. And because if I don't, then who else will? If it's going to be, then it's up to me. If I don't make a decision, then no one else can make the decision for you, right? And so I say you've always been, but now it's time to actually be. And so, statistics suggest, and let me get my Monday morning tongue together, 80% of people are doing something that they actually do not enjoy. 80% of people right now, today, at this very moment, are doing something that they do not enjoy. Let me break it down in other terms, in real terms. That means that 4 out of 5 people are spending majority of their life doing something that makes them unhappy. That's alarming. That's alarming that 2/3 of our population do not know, cannot articulate, or answer to themselves what they desire. So the question is, what do you want? Right? Not what other people want for you, but the question is, what is it exactly that you want? Because if you cannot be clear about what you want, here's how it's said: if you don't know what you want, then you'll end up working for someone who does know. If you don't know what you want, then chances are you're going to end up working for or following or tagging along with someone who does know what they want. And so here is the difference between a passive person and a proactive person. Proactive people know what they want. Proactive people are clear about what they have decided that they want and desire for themselves out of life. Passive people are just sitting around wishing, waiting, and wanting. Wishing, waiting, and wanting. And neither of those is an effective strategy for becoming a better you. Wishing, waiting, and wanting, neither one of those are effective in becoming our best selves. So what is effective? What is effective? Effective is working. There's this thing that you cannot go around nor get around, and it's called work. If you don't like who you are right now, you've got to work to become a better you. And this is not for working towards being accepted by people, because if you're working to be accepted by people, then that means you're working towards becoming something that will be pleasing to them, but could very well not be pleasing to you. And so the goal and the intent is not to be pleasing to people, but it's to become the person that I will be happy with. It's to become the person that I can look at myself and say, you know what? I may not be all that people think I ought to be, but I'm going to give myself credit because I'm not what I used to be. Now, I mean, like, truth of the matter is, on this journey, I've said it a couple of days ago. Hey, you got to give yourself grace. You got to give yourself grace. Give yourself grace while you're growing. You are literally becoming someone you've never been before. And while you're on that journey of becoming, not just doing, but becoming, it requires some grace, man, because there are going to be some days that you're going to be at it. Then there are going to be some days that you're going to miss it. There are going to be some days that you will. There'll be some days that you will not. But the difference between the two is that every day that I'm still deciding, you know what, even if I didn't hit the mark yesterday, my mindset is still that I have to be the one to make sure that tomorrow will be better than today. Man, my baby brother's on. What's up, Deontay? Man, listen, I've got to have the mindset to make sure that my work is my responsibility. Whoever you want to become, it's up to you to make sure that you do the work to become that person. So the question, may I ask you a question, is, what do you really want? What not what people want for you. Bless you, Dwayne Johnson. Not what your parents want for you. Not what other people's idea of you is. But literally, can you answer the question, what do you want? Like, who do you want to be? Because if you don't know what you want, then you'll end up working for someone who does. And so I want to give you all these three things today, and we're gonna move. Hey, what's my nephew? Yes, we're gonna give these three things, and then I'm moving. Y'all here for it, so we might as well get it right. Number one, let me tell you this: you got to be clear about what you want. Number one, make a decision. Here's why: because life is really too short not to know what you want. Right now, somebody woke up today and is just sitting, passively waiting, wishing, and wanting, and they're just sitting there. They don't have a plan. Did you wake up with a plan? What's your plan for today? Do you have a plan for today? Do you know what you're doing today? Because if you don't know what you're doing, if you woke up today and you have no idea what you're doing today, then you fall into that 4 out of 5 who are just aimlessly waiting and wishing and are not working towards a greater future. It's called prophetic vision. You've got to see yourself beyond today, beyond the now, and you've got to move, make a decision, and then move in that direction. Because the goal is who you are becoming, not what you're trying to do, right? And so it requires, number one, that you be clear about what you want. And once you're clear, Ella Fielder, once you're clear, once you're clear about that, if you understand this, that the point of life is to live. Man, the point of life is not to struggle. The point of life is not to repeat our parents' struggles. The point of life is not to pick up where they left off. The point of life is not to just reproduce what we've always seen. The point of life is actually to live and to live fully. John 10:10 says the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus says he came that we may have life and that we may have it more abundantly. And the amazing thing about that is when Jesus says that, he's not talking to dead people, he's talking to living people. But what he's telling them is you're living, but you're not living fully. And I want to help us unlock our potential so that we can do just that, so that we can not just live or not just exist, but that we can live fully, right? And so it requires, number one, that you make a decision and be clear about it. Set boundaries. And once you set those boundaries, it helps you eliminate distractions. It helps you eliminate making other people making their choice for you your decision. Like what you got to do today is not my destiny. Like, I was preaching yesterday from John 2 when Jesus was at the wedding and his mother comes to him and says they want wine, and he's like, hey, can you help me understand like what they got to do with me? Can I help you this week? Can I help you this week? You're gonna have to have some what that got to do with me moments, right? Because if you don't have a plan for yourself, somebody's gonna always find something for you to do. Somebody's gonna always need something. Somebody's gonna always want something. Marcus Edwards, bless you, man. That's my barber, y'all. As you can tell, I need to go see him. But somebody's gonna always have a plan for you. If you don't have a plan for yourself, somebody else has got something that they'll want you to do, right? And so making that decision for yourself and being clear about it says this: that may be what you want, but that's not what I'm on. What does this have to do with me? Like I know it's a crisis moment for you, right? But it, just because it's a crisis moment for you doesn't mean that it's got to be one for me. Just because you all worked up don't mean I need to be worked up. You have to be clear about you. Make a decision about the direction that you want to head in and then get started. Get headed in that direction. Number one, be clear about what you want. Number two, you got to be convinced. Be so convinced and determined once you make that decision, because achieving anything is going to require persistence. Becoming the person that you desire to become is going to require daily that you work on being that version of you. If you're always late and you want to be a punctual person, it's going to require you to identify what keeps you being late. If you want to be a healthier person, here's the honest to God truth. It's easy to say what we want, but it's not what we say that determines what we see. It's what we do. Because desire and discipline are two different things. That's that hustle soul separately piece right there, because there were so many who want the dream, but they lack the discipline to actually see it happen. And so it's going to require, why do people lack discipline in so many areas? It's because they do not have determination. If I'm determined, think about the last thing you were just determined to do. And no matter what happened, like your mind was just made up, man. I remember years ago, in my single days, I remember years ago being in a courtship, and I didn't even have a car at this time, and it was snow outside, and I wanted to get there, if you catch my drift. And man, I caught the bus. Y'all ain't gonna talk. I had my sister. I was living with her at the time. I had my sister drop me off downtown, and I found a way to get where I was trying to go. You want to talk about determined? I need you to be determined to get to the best you, the same way you were determined to get to her. I need you to be determined for the things that really matter, the same way we have big determination for stuff that really is not beneficial. It was just what we wanted. The determination, it requires that we be convinced. Here's how I say it. You've got to be sold on your product, even if your product is not currently selling. And newsflash, no matter what you do, you are the biggest product that you are the main product, because people buy into your presence before they ever consider buying your product. You've got to work on you, and you've got to be so determined and so sold, even before you've got to be convinced of it before it ever happens, because that's what turns into a mindset of I know what I want. And once I know what I want, once I'm clear, then I've got to be convinced. That's it. That's it. It starts with you. It starts with you. And let me say this while I'm here before I give us the last one. You stop blaming other people. Stop blaming other people. And because other people, if only have the power if you give them the power. So we can't, but if you're not convinced, then it's because you haven't activated that part of your mind that says, I have the ability to do this. I have the ability to achieve it. I have the ability to accomplish it. And so we've got to be sold on it. We've got to be convinced of it. And then number 3, be compelled. When you hear the word compel, it gives the connotation that something has got to be so strong that it's literally drawing you. It's the reason you got out of bed. It made you get up. You want to know how you know you're actually headed in the right direction? It's when an alarm clock doesn't have to wake you up, but you get up because you already knew what you set out to do today, yesterday, and it drew you out of that bed, right? It drew you, it made you get up. It made you, because you said to yourself, man, I'm not just doing something for the sake of doing it. I'm doing it because I decided to do this. And I'm doing it because I'm determined that it can happen. I'm determined that I can be it. I'm not, because before you can build it, you have to become it. And once you have that mindset, it starts something in us that becomes so amazing that you will start having this feeling of accomplishment. And that, my friends, is what you need, because everyone deserves to have a moment in your life where you feel accomplished. You got to, but you got to be compelled. But if you're not clear about what you want, you can't be compelled to do what it takes to get there. GPS is amazing, but you got to put in a destination. And that's the challenge to us this week. What's your destination? What are you deciding for you? Like, what are you choosing? You're either choosing what is, or you're creating what can be. Now, I'm going to say that again. You're either choosing what is, or you are creating what will be. And if I can may I make a suggestion? May I suggest that you choose to create. Don't just choose what is, but choose to create what will be. I was talking to a friend this morning, and I was sharing with him the stat that 80% of people are doing work that they do not enjoy. And I asked him, I said, are you one of them? And in a very vulnerable moment, he answered and he said, yes, I am. And it was at that moment that something opened up even to him right there, to say, now he's up, he's alive, he's in the car on his way somewhere. But it was in that moment that he realized, I'm doing this, but this is really not what I decided. Or I did decide it, but it's not really what I desire. Right? And so I'm done today when I say this. This is going to require some effective immediately. Effective immediately moments. What do you mean effective immediately? Well, once you get clear on who you desire to become, and you make a decision and get headed in that direction, then here's what happens. Effective immediately. I'm canceling any and everything that does not align with that decision. Effective immediately. I no longer just want to hang out. Effective immediately. I no longer I'm no longer looking for people to just have a good time with. Effective immediately. I don't want to just sit at tables where people want to turn up. I want to be at tables where people are ready to level up. Effective immediately, right? Like let's get to the most important stuff first, right? Effective immediately. I will not answer every phone call, because if it doesn't serve what I'm seeking, then it's not a part of it's not a part of what I need, right? Effective immediately. I'm making a decision that I can't waste no more time. Effective immediately. I'm making a decision that I can no longer just sit and passively wait for people and somebody else to come and do what I have the power myself to do. Effective immediately. My destination has changed. My destination used to be unclear. My destination used to be what somebody else wanted to see. And in the name of love and in the name of loyalty, I was just trying to please them. But effective immediately, I can no longer be responsible for anybody else's pleasure but my own. Effective immediately, I'm taking my happiness into my own hands. Effective immediately, I'm not looking for nobody to make me happy. Effective immediately, I'm not looking for nobody else to put me on. I'm putting myself on. Effective immediately, I'm not looking for invitations. I am the invitation. Effective, when something is effective immediately, then that means this is an abrupt interruption and shift. And so what is required? It's required that today becomes the day that you make a decision that I'm only going to do what's going to help me be. I'm only going to do what's going to help me be the best version of myself. And the last thing I'll say is this: it's going to make some folks mad. But I saw this months ago, and it really put me in a place mentally that I'd never been before, a good place. And it said that you're not really ready for growth until you're okay with upsetting some people you love. Yeah. You're not really ready for growth until you're okay with upsetting some people. And some of those people are going to be people that you love and like. You're not really ready for growth. Is going to require, John Maxwell says, there is no significance without sacrifice. Bless you, Bishop Richardson. Glad you're on. There is no significance without sacrifice. If you're not willing to sacrifice, the law of sacrifice says this: you have to give up in order to go up. And some of the very reasons why many of us are not going up is because we haven't decided what we're going to give up. Hey, Mary. You got to decide if you're doing this actively, right? Because you can't just keep it in your head. You got to write it down, right? My formula is write it, work it, win. Write it, work it, win. Write it. You got to write it out. If you okay, good to have goals, but you got to write those goals out. But right beside the goal, you have to also list out what you're going to give up in order to achieve that goal. You got to, right next to the goal, what you desire to achieve, you have to list what you're going to give up in order to get there, because there is no alternative for abstinence. There isn't. So effective immediately, I'm deciding I'm clear on what I want. And I'm so clear on, I'm so convinced of it that every day I'm doing the work. I'm replacing a wishbone with a backbone. I'm no longer wishing, I'm now working. And I'm so compelled that I'm constantly moving in that direction. Craig Groeschel says this, our lives, hey, Keita Lynn, our lives are constantly moving in the direction of our strongest thoughts. Our lives, Dr. Faith, are moving in the direction of our strongest thoughts. Dr. Daria, our lives are always moving in the direction of our strongest thoughts. And if your mindset is a growth mindset, then you're going to be compelled to move in the direction of what you desire. Now, because I know, because I know that there's a lot of conversation around this, that, and some people say, well, man, you're talking stuff that's against the way God says do it. No, it's not. Because if you are in an alignment with God, then your desires are going to be pure. God is not opposed to you having plans. What he is opposed to is you not submitting and committing those plans to him. God says, I'm okay with you having a plan for it. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay with you having an idea. But you got to bring it to me and commit that thing to me, and I'll establish it. God says, well, let me partner with you to see it happen, right? And so being clear about what you want, make a decision. Because if you don't know what you want, then you'll end up with someone who does. Be convinced of it. Be determined enough, because achieving anything is going to require some persistence. And there are going to be so many days that you're going to struggle. The biggest critic is going to be you sometimes, and you're going to struggle with making yourself convinced. So you got to be sold of your product even before your product starts selling. And if you're not in that entrepreneur space, I get it, but you are a product, right? And so you got to be sold on, you convinced that you can achieve. You got to get some affirmations that you will daily, and not just one time, but many times a day, that you will affirm that you are able to create the life that you desire. And then you got to be compelled. You got to be compelled, so much so that you're just drawn. It's drawing you. It's just drawing you, and it's drawing you in the direction of your decision. So what do you want? Like you've got to answer that question. And I listen. I welcome you. I want you to hang around with me this week, because we're really going to dive into this, because there's somebody watching now. You need help with deciding, and that's okay. Needing help is not the problem, but never getting the help to make the decision will keep you stuck. You will keep yourself in a holding pattern, holding your future self hostage, holding your present self hostage, when your future self is calling you. Remaining who you've always been at the expense of who you can be. It's never too late to be what you might have been. Hey, Naya, I saw you come on. Hey, Mother, I saw you come on. Hey, listen, I'm done today, but be clear about what you want. Make a decision. Be convinced. You got to have some determination. And then you got to be compelled. Move in that direction. So somebody today, that's your word. Move in that direction. Move in that, because our lives are constantly moving in the direction of our strongest thoughts. And so I know you love people, but think about you. I know you want to be there for them, but perhaps this is the time that you need to be there for you, because you can't help them if you haven't first helped yourself. You're only as good for someone else as you have been to yourself. All right, so that's it. I'm done. But the point of life is to live, and I pray that we will do just that. All right, so you got some work to do. You got some work to do on answering the question, what do you want? And hey, listen, I want to see you back tomorrow, because I want to dive into some of the keys that are going to be uh, important in making the decision and then moving in that direction. Let's do it. You got it. It's in you. It's called potential. Let's tap into it so that we can unlock what's next for you. Thank y'all for being on.